When your wife says she's flying to Venice for a blogger conference, and you accidentally hear her whispering to someone on the phone, "I can't wait to feel your hands again," you realize life will never be the same. I stood near the bedroom door with a cup of coffee I was bringing her. The morning was cold, even for a Boston October. My heart froze when I heard that whisper. Evelina didn't notice me. She sat with her back turned, pressing the phone to her ears so tenderly as if it were a living being. "My name is Roger, I'm 43, and for the past 20 years I thought I knew my wife. We met in college, married early, and though children never came, I thought we were good together. I worked on the family farm outside the city, growing organic vegetables, while Evelina built a successful YouTube channel about healthy living. The irony of fate, she preached honesty and authenticity to hundreds of thousands of subscribers. I quietly stepped back, placed the coffee on the kitchen table. My hands trembled. Blogger conference, I repeated to myself. Maybe I misunderstood something? But that tone of voice, that breathing in the words. The following days I watched. Evelina packed her suitcase, smiled at me, kissed me goodbye. "I'll miss you, honey," she said at the airport. I watched her go through security, waving at me. A perfect performance. But I already knew enough not to believe. That evening I logged into her computer. She never changed the password, our wedding date. Naivety or audacity? The email revealed more than I wanted to know. Letters from someone named Joel, stretching back 8 months. A private practice doctor. My hands trembled again as I read these lines full of passion and promises. And then I saw another name. Marcus. An engineer from Chicago. The correspondence was shorter but dated a year earlier. She hadn't just cheated. She was living a double life. What struck me most was something else. In one of the letters to Joel, Evelina wrote, "Roger is security, stability. But with you I feel alive. He'll never truly understand me." Further on, I did what we talked about. The clinic in Providence. No one will know. An abortion. She was pregnant and had an abortion without even telling me. Was it my child? Joel's? I'll never know. That evening I spent in the barn on the farm, staring into emptiness. 20 years. 20 years I built this life, believed in us. And she just used me as a prop for her perfect online image. But the most interesting came later. Digging deeper into financial documents, I found something that made my blood boil. Evelina had created a separate business account where she transferred part of her channel income. Over the past 2 years, she'd accumulated over $120,000 there. Money I knew nothing about. Money that belonged to our family. The plan matured in my head slowly, like an apple ripening on a tree. I wasn't rushing. Evelina returned from the conference tanned and happy, showing photos from Venice, canals, gondolas, St. Mark's Square. "It was wonderful, but I missed you so much," she smiled, hugging me. I returned the embrace, kissed her back. A play with 2 actors. I gave myself a month. During this time I did several things. First, I talked to a lawyer. Second, I opened a new account in my name and started transferring funds from our joint savings, exactly half, so everything would be legally fair, but she wouldn't have time to take them. Third, I sold some farm equipment that was registered solely in my name. Another $30,000 in my new account. But most importantly, I waited. Patiently, like a farmer waits for harvest. Evelina's second visit to clients happened 6 weeks later. This time Miami. Joel again judging by her flights. He worked at a clinic there 6 months a year. I helped her pack, drove her to the airport, kissed her goodbye. "Come back soon," I said sincerely. While she was in Miami, I took all my personal belongings from the apartment. Documents, photos that were dear to me, grandfather's tools. Moved everything to the farm, to the small manager's house where I planned to settle. And then I did something she didn't expect. I called Joel. Finding his number was easy. Private doctors love advertising. "Hello," I said calmly when he answered. "My name is Roger, I'm Evelina's husband. I think we should talk." The silence on the other end was eloquent. "I know everything about you. About Venice, about Miami, about the baby. And you know what? I'm not going to interfere with your love." "Listen, he began, but I interrupted. "Evelina told you she's a successful creator with a clean reputation, right? A channel about healthy living, happy married life, authenticity. But she didn't tell you about Marcus from Chicago, did she?" Silence again. Longer. "Or about the affair she had 6 years ago with a producer who helped develop her channel?" "No." "Well, I only found out about that a month ago. I wonder if you know that the money she spends on your trips together is partly stolen from our family budget." "I don't know what you're—" His voice trembled. "Joel, I'm not your enemy. I just want you to know who you're dealing with. Check for yourself. Ask her about Marcus. Or about Darren. And think about whether you're ready to build a future with someone for whom lying is a way of life. I hung up. My heart was pounding. This was only the first part. Next, I called Marcus. It turned out he was still a bit in love with Evelina, still hoping that someday she would leave me for him. Did she tell you about Joel? I asked softly. The doctor from Boston? Who she's with in Miami right now. The conversation was brief. Marcus cursed and slammed down the phone. And then I texted Evelina. A simple message: when you get back, we need to talk about our future. I've made a decision. She called immediately. What happened? Is something wrong? Everything's fine, honey. I just want to discuss some things. It's important for both of us. Her voice sounded wary, but she agreed. I'm coming back the day after tomorrow. That same evening, Joel called me back. I talked to Evelina, he said harshly. She explained everything. You're just a jealous husband who doesn't want to let go. Of course, I replied calmly. Ask Marcus what he thinks about it. I'll send you his number. Another click of the phone. But the seed of doubt was planted. And I knew Evelina well enough. She would panic, try to control the situation, contact everyone, explain, justify. And the more she talked, the more contradictions would appear in her words. When she returned, I met her at the apartment. Set the table, prepared dinner. We need to talk, I said when she sat down. Roger, if this is about those stupid rumors? She began. What rumors? I interrupted calmly. She froze. Someone called Joel. Said strange things. Joel? I tilted my head. Who's Joel? Her face first showed fear, then confusion. He's my friend. We met through mutual acquaintances. Evelina, I handed her a folder with printed letters. I know everything. About Joel, about Marcus, about the others. About the money in your secret account. About the baby. She turned pale before my eyes. Roger, I can explain. Don't. I don't want to hear excuses. I want a divorce. Tears, pleas, promises, all this lasted for hours. She said she loved me, that it was a mistake, that Joel meant nothing. But I saw the truth in her eyes. She didn't love me. Maybe she loved Joel. Maybe just herself. The following months were legal hell. Lawyers, property division, disputes. We sold the apartment, splitting the money in half. The farm remained mine. It had always been my family property. Evelina received her share of savings, but that secret account had to be disclosed to the court. Half of that money also went to me. But the most interesting happened later. Joel broke up with her a week after my conversation with him. Marcus sent her an angry letter calling her a manipulator. She lost both of them. The first weeks after the divorce were strange. I woke up in the manager's house on the farm, and for a few seconds forgot everything that happened. Then reality came crashing back like a cold wave. The empty bed beside me, the silence that was no longer comfortable but oppressive. I threw myself into work. The farm demanded attention. It was late autumn, time to prepare for winter. I repaired the greenhouse, updated the irrigation system, planned next year's crops. Physical labor helped not to think. When your muscles ache and sweat runs down your back, there's no room in your head for memories of how she laughed over morning coffee or how she kissed my neck when I cooked dinner. But evenings were the hardest. When darkness fell and I sat on the porch with a beer looking at the stars. That's when memories came. Not the bad ones, those I could handle. But the good ones. Our first date at the botanical garden. How she cried with happiness when I proposed. Our trip to the Grand Canyon when we were still young and believed we could conquer the world. Were they all lies? Or was there truth in those moments? I tried not to think about where she was now. What she was doing. Whether she was with Joel or had found someone new. It didn't matter anymore. We were two separate people, two separate lives. One evening about 2 months after the divorce, my neighbor Tom came by. He was an old farmer in his 70s who had worked the land all his life. We sat on the porch drinking beer and watching the sunset. Women, he said suddenly. Can't live with them, can't live without them. I smiled bitterly. Right now, I'm doing fine without. Are you? He looked at me carefully. Son, I've known you since you were a kid. And I've never seen you look so empty. I'm fine, Tom. You're surviving. That's not the same as living. He took a sip of beer. My wife died 15 years ago. Cancer. And I thought I'd never recover. But you know what I learned? Pain doesn't kill you. It changes you. Makes you stronger if you let it. And if I don't want to be stronger? If I just want it all to go back to how it was, then you'll spend the rest of your life living in the past. He stood up, patted me on the shoulder. Think about it, son. After he left, I sat for a long time in the darkness. His words echoed in my head. Was I living in the past? Probably. But how do you let go when every corner of your life reminds you of what was? The next day I decided to do something I'd been putting off. I went to the apartment. Well, now it was just a property for sale, but our things were still there, waiting to be divided. Evelina was supposed to come to pick up her belongings, but she asked if she could do it when I wasn't there. I agreed. But now I needed to get some of my stuff, old photo albums, books, some kitchen utensils I'd inherited from my mother. I had a key, so I just walked in and froze. Evelina was there. She sat on the floor in the living room, surrounded by boxes, and cried. Not quietly, but with sobs that shook her whole body. In her hands was our wedding album. She didn't hear me come in. I stood in the doorway, not knowing what to do. Part of me wanted to leave, not to interfere with her grief. Another part remembered how many times I had comforted her when she cried. Old habits die hard. Evelina, I said quietly. She jumped, quickly wiping her tears. Roger. I thought you weren't coming today. I needed to pick up some things. I stepped closer. Are you okay? She laughed through her tears. Am I okay? No, Roger. I'm not okay. I ruined everything. The best thing in my life, and I just threw it away. I didn't know what to say. Part of me felt satisfaction. She was suffering as I had suffered. But mostly I just felt empty. Joel? I asked. Gone. When he found out about Marcus, about others, he said he couldn't trust me. That I was sick and needed help. She looked at me with red eyes. And he was right. I'm sick. Something's broken inside me, Roger. I don't know how to be happy with what I have. I always want more, something new, something exciting. That's not an excuse. I know. I'm not looking for excuses. She stood up, approached me. I know you probably hate me. And you have every right. But I want you to know, I realize now what I lost. You were real, Roger. You loved me for who I was, not for my image or my channel or anything else. And I was too stupid to appreciate it. Her words sounded sincere. But I had learned not to trust words. I have to go, I said, picking up the box with my things. Goodbye, Evelina. Wait. She grabbed my hand. Can I ask you something? I nodded. Did you ever really love me? Or was it all just habit? I looked into her eyes. Despite everything she'd done, despite all the pain, I saw in them genuine fear. Fear of the answer. Yes, I said honestly. I loved you. More than anything in this world. And that's why it hurt so much. I left, leaving her standing there alone among the boxes and memories. The weeks passed. Thanksgiving came and went. I spent it alone on the farm, eating pizza and watching football. Christmas was approaching, and with it came an unexpected invitation. My sister Rachel called. Roger, you're coming for Christmas, right? Mom will be upset if you don't come. I don't know, Rach. I'm not really in the holiday mood. All the more reason to come. You can't spend all your time alone on that farm. It's not healthy. She was right, of course. So I agreed. Christmas at my parents' house in Vermont was complicated. Everyone tried to act normal, not to mention Evelina, but I could see the pity in their eyes. My younger brother Mark was there with his wife and 2 kids. My sister with her husband. And me, alone. How's the farm? My father asked during dinner, clearly trying to find a safe topic. Good. Planning to expand the greenhouse next year. Maybe add some new crops. That's good, son. Keeping busy is important. After dinner I stepped outside for some fresh air. The night was cold and clear, snow covering everything like a white blanket. I stood on the porch, breathing in the frosty air, when Rachel came out. You okay? She asked, wrapping her coat tighter. Define okay. Fair enough. She stood next to me. You know, Mom's worried about you. We all are. I'm fine, Rach. Really? Are you? Because from where I'm standing you look like a ghost. You're there but not really there. I sighed. What do you want me to say? That I'm having the time of my life? That divorce is great. No. I want you to say that you're healing. That you're moving forward. But you're not, are you? It's only been 3 months. I know. And nobody expects you to be over it. But Roger. She turned to face me. You can't let what she did define the rest of your life. You're 43. You have so many good years ahead. Don't waste them being angry. I'm not angry. Yes, you are. You're furious. And hurt. And betrayed. And all of those feelings are valid. But if you hold on to them forever, they'll poison you. We stood in silence for a while, watching the snow fall. She called me, Rachel said suddenly. What? Evelina. A few days ago. She asked how you were doing. And what did you tell her? I told her it was none of her business. Rachel looked at me. But between us, I think she's genuinely sorry. Not that it changes anything. No, I agreed. It doesn't. After Christmas, I returned to the farm with a strange feeling. Rachel's words kept echoing in my head. Was I holding on to anger? Probably. But how do you let go of something that hurt you so deeply? January came with its bitter cold. The farm was quiet this time of year. Most of the work was planning and preparation. I spent a lot of time in my small office working on budgets and crop schedules. One afternoon my phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Roger? It's Joel. I almost dropped the phone. What do you want? Look, I know this is weird, but I need to talk to you. Can we meet? Why would I want to meet with you? Because there's something you should know. About Evelina. Please. Just 1 hour. Against my better judgment, I agreed. We met at a coffee shop in Boston 2 days later. Joel looked different than I'd imagined. Older, maybe mid-50s with graying hair and tired eyes. He sat across from me, nervously stirring his coffee. Thank you for coming, he said. I have 20 minutes. Talk. Right? He took a breath. First, I want to apologize. What I did was wrong. I knew she was married and I did it anyway. There's no excuse for that. Is that all? No. He looked at me. I need to tell you something about Evelina. Something she probably never told you. And then he told me a story I never expected to hear. About how Evelina had come to him initially as a patient, complaining of anxiety and depression. How he'd recommended a therapist but she'd refused, saying she couldn't risk anyone finding out. How their relationship had started. Inappropriate from the beginning, a clear violation of medical ethics. She is not well, Roger. Clinically, I mean. She has what we call borderline personality disorder. Fear of abandonment, impulsive behavior, unstable relationships. She needs professional help, but she refuses to get it because she's afraid it will hurt her image. Why are you telling me this? Because she's been calling me. Dozens of times a day. Showing up at my office. My house. She's obsessed with the idea that we can still be together. And when I told her no, he paused. She threatened to file a complaint against me with the medical board. To destroy my career. I sat back processing this. So you're here to what? Get me to talk to her? No. I'm here to warn you. She's not stable, Roger. And she's fixated on the idea that if she can just make things right with you, everything else will fall into place. I think she might try to contact you. And I think you should be prepared. He was right. That same evening, Evelina showed up at the farm. I was in the barn checking on some equipment when I heard a car pull up. Through the window, I saw her get out, looking around uncertainly. I took a deep breath and went outside. Evelina. What are you doing here? Roger. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. I needed to see you. To talk. We don't have anything to talk about. Please. Just give me a few minutes. She looked desperate. I've been doing a lot of thinking. About us, about what happened. And I realize now that I made the biggest mistake of my life. Evelina? No, please let me finish. She stepped closer. Joel was nothing. Marcus was nothing. They were just distractions from the real problem. Which was me. I was so focused on building this perfect online life that I forgot about my real life. With you. And now what? You expect me to just forget everything? No. But I'm asking for a chance. One chance to prove that I can be better. I'll go to therapy. I'll do whatever it takes. I can't lose you, Roger. You're the only real thing I've ever had. Looking at her, I felt a strange mix of emotions. Anger, yes. Hurt, definitely. But also pity. She looked lost, broken, like a ship without a rudder. You need help, Evelina. Professional help. But I can't be the one to give it to you. But you're the only one who understands me. No. I thought I understood you. But I was wrong. I took a step back. You need to leave. Now. Roger, please. Tears started flowing down her face. I love you. I really do. I know I didn't show it, I know I hurt you, but I love you. Love isn't just a word, Evelina. It's actions. It's choices. And you chose everything but me. Over and over again. She stood there, crying, and part of me wanted to comfort her. Old habits. But I held firm. Goodbye, Evelina. I turned and walked back to the barn. I heard her car start, heard her drive away. And then silence. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about what Joel had said, about what Evelina had said. Was she really sick? Or was that just another excuse? Did it even matter? The next morning I called my lawyer. I need to know if there's anything legally she can do to bother me. Restraining order, something like that. Has she been threatening you? No. But she showed up at my farm last night. Uninvited. And I have a feeling she won't stop. We discussed options. In the end, I sent her a formal letter through my lawyer, stating that any further contact would be considered harassment. February came and went. March brought the first signs of spring, snow melting, ground thawing, preparations for planting. I hired 2 new workers for the farm, young guys who were eager to learn about organic farming. It felt good to have people around, to have noise and laughter in the fields again. I hadn't heard from Evelina in weeks. Her YouTube channel had gone quiet. No new videos since January. I told myself I didn't care, but I checked anyway. Old habits. Then in early April my sister called again. Have you seen Evelina's new video? No. Why? You need to watch it. With a sense of dread, I opened YouTube and found her channel. The newest video posted that morning was titled, My Truth, a Public Apology. I clicked play. Evelina appeared on screen looking different. No makeup, hair pulled back, sitting in what looked like a therapist's office. Hi everyone, she began, her voice shaky. This is probably the hardest video I've ever made. But I owe you all the truth. I've been lying. For years. About my life, my marriage, everything. She went on to detail her affairs, her deception, how she'd built a false image while destroying her real life. She talked about her diagnosis, her therapy, her struggles with mental health. And then she talked about me. My ex-husband, Roger, was the best thing that ever happened to me. He loved me unconditionally, supported my dreams, was faithful and kind and everything I should have cherished. And I threw it away. Not once but repeatedly. I betrayed him in the worst possible way, and he deserves so much better than what I gave him. The video ended with her in tears, apologizing to me, to her subscribers, to everyone she'd hurt. Within hours the video went viral. Millions of views, thousands of comments. Some people praised her honesty. Others condemned her. But everyone was talking about it. My phone wouldn't stop ringing. Friends, family, even reporters wanting my side of the story. I ignored them all. That evening, Evelina called. Against my better judgment, I answered. Did you watch it? She asked quietly. Yes. I know you probably think it was for attention. But it wasn't. I needed to tell the truth. I've been lying for so long I forgot what the truth felt like. Evelina, I don't know what you want from me. Nothing. I don't want anything. I wanted you to hear it from me. That I'm sorry. That I'm trying to be better. And that I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. You're right. You don't. I know. She was crying now. But I needed to try. Goodbye, Roger. I won't bother you again. She hung up. I stood there with the phone in my hand, feeling strange. Not happy, not sad. Just empty. Spring turned into summer. The farm flourished. We had the best crop in years. I started going to a support group for divorced men, something my sister had suggested. It helped to talk to people who understood, who had been through similar pain. I even went on a few dates. Nothing serious, just coffee or dinner with women I met through friends. It felt strange, like I was cheating even though I wasn't married anymore. But slowly, gradually, it started to feel more normal. Life was moving forward. Then, in August, something unexpected happened. Evelina showed up at the farm again. But this time was different. She didn't come to plead or beg. She came with someone else, a woman in her 50s, professional looking. Roger, Evelina said when I came out to meet them. This is Dr. Morrison, my therapist. I asked her to come with me because I wanted you to hear something. Not from me but from someone objective. Dr. Morrison stepped forward. Mr. Roger, I apologize for this unusual visit. But Evelina has been working very hard in therapy, and part of her recovery involves making amends. She asked if I would witness this conversation, to ensure she stays on track. Okay, I said slowly. Evelina took a breath. I've been in intensive therapy for 6 months. I've been diagnosed with borderline personality disorder and depression. I'm on medication, I'm doing DBT therapy, and I'm learning to be a different person. Not for you, not for anyone else, but for me. She paused. I came to tell you that I understand now why I did what I did. It doesn't excuse it. Nothing excuses it. But I understand. And I want you to know that it was never about you being inadequate. You were perfect. I was broken. And now? I asked. Now I'm working on being less broken. It's hard. Some days I want to give up. But I'm trying. She looked at me with clear eyes. I'm not here to ask for another chance. I know that ship has sailed. I'm here to release you from any guilt you might feel. This wasn't your fault. It was mine. All mine. Dr. Morrison nodded approvingly. Thank you, I said and meant it. I hope you find peace, Evelina. I really do. You too, Roger. They left and I stood there for a long time processing what had happened. It felt like closure. Real closure. But life has always had more surprises in store. 2 weeks later, Evelina called again. I know I said I wouldn't bother you, but something happened and I thought you should know. Joel, he lost his medical license. Because of our relationship. And he's blaming me. He's been harassing me, threatening me. I filed a police report, but what? I'm scared, Roger. I know I have no right to ask, but I don't know who else to call. Against every instinct telling me to hang up, I said, "Where are you?" She was at a hotel in Boston. I drove there, not sure why I was doing this. When I arrived, she looked terrified, genuinely frightened. He's been calling all night, saying horrible things. That he's going to ruin my life like I ruined his. Did you call the police? Yes, but they said there's not much they can do unless he actually does something. I stayed with her that night. Not romantically, I slept in a chair while she took the bed. But I stayed because despite everything, I couldn't just leave her there alone and scared. The next morning, Joel showed up at the hotel. Security called the police and he was arrested for harassment. Evelina filed for a restraining order. And somewhere in all of that chaos, something shifted between us. Not back to love. That was gone, burned away by betrayal and time. But something like understanding. Maybe even friendship. Over the following months we talked occasionally. She continued her therapy, I continued rebuilding my life. She started a new channel, much smaller, focused on mental health and recovery. No pretense, no perfect image. Just honesty. And then, one day in November, almost a year after the divorce, she came to the farm again. I'm moving to California, she said. Fresh start. Dr. Morrison recommended it. That's good. I think that'll be good for you. Yeah. She smiled, a real smile this time. I wanted to say goodbye properly. And to thank you. For what? For not giving up on me completely. Even when you should have. You stayed at that hotel, you testified for my restraining order, you answered my calls when I was struggling. You didn't have to do any of that. I know. So why did you? I thought about it. Because underneath all the hurt and anger, I remembered who you were when we first met. That girl who wanted to change the world, who believed in doing good. And I guess I hoped she was still in there somewhere. She is. I'm finding her again. Evelina reached out, hesitated, then took my hand. I know we can't go back. I know I destroyed what we had. But I want you to know that these past 20 years, the good parts, they were real for me. Even if I couldn't appreciate them at the time. They were real for me too, I admitted. We stood there for a moment, two people who had shared a life and then watched it crumble. Be happy, Roger. You deserve it. You too, Evelina. She drove away and I watched until her car disappeared down the road. That night, sitting on the porch with a beer, I realized something. I wasn't angry anymore. The rage that had consumed me for months was gone, replaced by peace. Not happiness, not yet. But peace. Evelina texted a few times after she moved to California. Brief messages about her new therapist, her new apartment, how strange it was to start over. I replied with equally brief messages about the farm, the weather, my life. We weren't friends exactly. But we weren't enemies either. We were two people who had hurt each other, learned from it, and moved on. Christmas came again. This time I didn't spend it alone. I brought a date, Sarah, a teacher I'd met at a farmer's market in September. Nothing serious yet, but promising. As I sat at my parents' table, surrounded by family and laughter, I thought about how much had changed in a year. The pain was still there, but it didn't control me anymore. My phone buzzed with a text from Evelina. Merry Christmas, Roger. I hope you're surrounded by people who love you. I smiled and replied, Merry Christmas, Evelina. I hope you found your peace. And I meant it. Because holding on to bitterness only hurts yourself. Forgiveness, real forgiveness, isn't about forgetting or excusing. It's about releasing the hold the past has on your future. Did I trust Evelina again? No. Would we ever be together again? Absolutely not. But I forgave her. Not for her sake, but for mine. Because life's too short to spend it anchored to pain. And sometimes the best revenge is simply living well. YouTube may no longer suggest my channel to you, so subscribe to it to receive new interesting stories. You will also help the channel grow and improve the quality of its content. The screen now displays a playlist with other interesting stories that you can listen to. You can also write in the comments what stories you would like to see on the channel.